What's going on, everybody? Drew over at Future Strategy Gaming, coming to you with my first of hopefully many series, Things I Wish Someone Told Me. Now, this is going to be covering a few topics in my first video, and then each topic after that will cover a broad spectrum of things. So first, we're going to start with the initial startup experience. First, instead of going to start, let's click Data Center. Draw your attention to this. As far as Data Center goes, you're looking for the one that's closest to you physically from wherever you are playing. Once we get into that, we have clusters that are on each of these. Now, obviously, you're going to pick the one closest to you. I'm picking North America since I come from there. Now, these clusters will have servers within them. What you want to do is, if you are a new player, you're going to want to pick a server within a cluster that your friends are on. So if your friends are coming over and they say, hey, listen, we're on the Gilgamesh server on Aether, well, then you're going to pick Aether up here in the data center selection. Click OK. We'll move over to new character. If you are coming over and you're trying the free trial that goes all the way up to Heavensward, the only races you will have available to you as far as picking will go down to the Ora. Then you have the Rogaden, the Mikute, the Lalafell, the Elizin, and the Here. Now, if you have purchased the Shadowlands expansion as well as planning on playing on Endwalker, you have access to Hrothgar and Vieira. None of these matter except for aesthetics. So move on to the next one. Now, right here, Sea Wolves versus Hellsguard. You'll notice that the stats are different in this general area between which one I pick. Those don't matter long term. Don't worry about it. I spent way too much time trying to figure out which one to pick, when reality is it's not big as far as end game content goes. I'll let you go ahead and do whatever you'd like over here. Play around with that. There's tons of customization options. We're going to move on to the next one. We'll just hit randomize. Cool. This guy's got a broken nose. When we get to this stage, save appearance data. Why I want to draw your attention to this. If you spend some time and you like the look of your character, and you want to save that so that next time you create a character, whether it's on another data center or just in a different cluster, you can utilize the exact same look by saving. For this, we're going to just do whatever. That data is saved. Now, as far as whatever this is picking your birthday. Again, doesn't matter. Right here is going to be picking a deity. These have very minor lore implications later on, but they do not affect your gameplay at all. Read through all these, pick which one you like. Now, these are the starting classes you can pick: Disciple of War or Disciple of Magic. I'm not really going to go into it too deeply. What I want to draw your attention to are two big things. One, this large area on the bottom left corner of your screen. As you pick different classes, you'll notice that potentially changes depending on which you've picked. That's because that's going to be the starting area based on whichever one you pick to start your initial character on. Don't worry, you can play any job in any class on your single character, so it's not going to matter with what you start with. It's just a matter of where you start. Now, one thing I want to also point out, I'm going to click back to Gladiator, is this job selection down here in the attire. You want to be able to get a general feel of what your character is going to look like past level 30 when it gets its initial job that's specific to whatever you started with. For brief overview, Gladiator turns into Paladin, a shield and sword tank. Pugilist moves into the Monk, which is a melee DPS character that hits with fists and claws. Marauder moves into the eventual Warrior, which is also tank using a Great Axe. Lancer is going to move into a Dragoon using a Halberd, Trident, or, for lack of a better term, Spear when they go ahead and do their fighting. Archer is the only physical range DPS that you can start with that eventually moves to a Bard. Bard is going to be using a bow and arrow. Move to Magic. Conjurer eventually moves to the White Mage, the most straightforward healer in the game. Pardon me if I mispronounce this. Thaumaturge is going to move to that Black Mage, one of the original caster DPS and one of the highest dealing damage in the game. Last but not least, we have Arcanist. Arcanist is the only unique starting class that moves into one of two jobs when it hits level 30. The two jobs, the one you see on the screen is going to be the Summoner. This is going to be a pet-based, spell-damaged dealing class. And the other one is going to be the Scholar, which is also a pet-based but healing class instead. Now, jobs will be able to kind of show you exactly what they're going to look like later, as well as the thematic of it. Again, it's not going to be a big deal long term, as it doesn't have any effects because you can play anything. We're not going to move into advanced jobs, as that'll be a different video, so we'll just confirm right here. Now, it says you have selected Siren, which is, if you remember, not something we selected in the first place, because I talked about Gilgamesh. So, what I like to point your attention to, you hit no there. These are going to be all the servers that are on the Aether cluster. So we have Aether as our cluster here and all these different servers. What I'd like to point out, this star symbol right here. Hover over this name right here. You'll notice that a yellow text comes up on the left side. XP bonuses are currently being granted to all new players created on the world. As of right now, it's actually not letting me create any characters on that. However, if you're new to this game, that could be potentially a nice XP boon. Otherwise, you just have to pick something that's on that cluster of Aether so that you can play with any of your friends that are on these servers. Alright, once you've loaded into your character for the first time, you'll be starting in whatever city you chose. What I'd like to point your attention to is going to be the UI. Now, I personally like customization in my UI. This is something that I didn't know about until I was level 45 in the game, so I just played with all this generally set up wherever it was. Final Fantasy does a fantastic job of having complete customization options for your entire UI. Now, what I'll draw your attention to, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can have 3, 4, 2, 1, any of these are all different presets that you can utilize. So when you do go ahead and start moving stuff, make sure you do it all on one specific one before you do that. Now, if you click on any of these customizable units that are available, they all have customization options specific to them. You can find that here on this cogwheel, and it'll pick the UI, and then you can go ahead and go into it and change exactly what you want to change about that. Now, when you're first getting started, this can seem very daunting because there is quite a bit of stuff going on. Take 10 minutes when you first get in, customize very minimally, and then over time you can make some tweaks. But the reality is you should get into this game as soon as you possibly can. So do whatever you need baseline to help you get to where you want, and then you can move on. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. Those are all quick tips that just aren't surface level knowledge for a lot of players, and I wanted to make sure that you were able to go in there and just have a general thought process that doesn't waste your time, because this game is already large enough and it's going to be a large time sink in a good way because it's a fantastic game, but I want to make sure that you get into playing it without spending time on options that aren't going to affect your gameplay. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you. If you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button down below. If you want to see more of these videos or some of my other content, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and hit that bell notification so that way you know when I've posted some new material. Have a fantastic day. Thank you for giving me your time. My name's Drew, Future Strategy Gaming. Peace.